I'm just stepping in for a little bit while Chaz enjoys some dinner. So, and if anyone was watching earlier, the only reason I'm not playing in top 8 is Randy right there. So, thanks, Randy.
Thanks, Randy. Congrats, though, Randy.
Yeah. So, he calls it Junkyard, which is kind of a cute name for Abzan Greasefang, right? You know, it is kind of a junkyard.
Yeah.
The graveyard does become a junkyard. So, I don't know exactly how this matchup goes, right? Because Miles has the technology, let's say, to interact with a Greasefang. Can he do it fast enough? Because having a push isn't always exactly what you need. Now he has a lot of ways to trigger a push into being able to kill a Greasefang, which is pretty good. But like cards like Claim the Firstborn, stuff like that, don't do anything in this matchup. They're very, very bad.
Yeah.
And then Randy also has, cards that you can just kind of hard cast and just ride them out, right? Like Essica's Chariot, a perfectly reasonable 4-drop to just do the thing with.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, it comes with some kitty cats, so still leaving some stuff behind, even if you happen to deal with the Chariot. But kind of got a little bit of Pika Miles' hand. Looks like I saw a Claim the Firstborn, a cat, Witch's Oven. There was the Blood Tithe Harvester, 2 lands, and then a Deadly Dispute, I think it was. So,
I mean, those all sound reasonable. Not the best hand again. Oh, and I can already tell he has the combination in hand. It's just getting the Parhelion into the yard, right? I don't see necessarily a way to do that. Is that a Traverse, Wayfinder, just a couple of land, and he did mull once.
In a Parhelion here. He's gonna keep those 3 lands so he can hit that Greasefang on 3. Maybe we'll play this Wayfinder on 2.
I'm slightly surprised. I've played a lot of Greasefang, although it was Mardu Greasefang, not Abzan. And like, I feel like having the combination already in hand is kind of ideal. And like, this feels kind of punishing, right? Because then he drew the Rafine's Informant, which would have been the perfect opportunity to put Parhelion in the yard for a literal, turn through Greasefang. I don't know if I would have given away that opportunity.
All right. Interesting mill here with Wayfinder. Land, Wisdom Command, Can't Stay Away.
I mean,
interesting.
At least you have a little bit of inevitability with Can't Stay Away, right? Because you go for the Greasefang. If he does have the answer for it, you gotta do it. But
very
unfortunately,
good draw from Miles too. See what he drew there. The Mayhem Devil.
It's one of the cards I was thinking. It is a way to start picking off Randy's creatures once Miles has established the board state, right?
Yeah.
So it's Miles, fingers crossed, to have the time to do that, which, interestingly enough, I don't think Miles' hand would have lined up very well if Randy would have kept the Parhelion to go 1, 2, 3, essentially, I think. But again, when you're playing a combo deck, it can be a little tricky to just go kind of all in on immediately sticking the landing and just going, I absolutely will play a Greasefang, and everything I want to happen will happen, and we'll get angels, and we'll go off.
Yeah.
Doesn't always happen that way. Yeah. It's unfortunate.
I think smart play for Miles here is going to slam that Blood Tithe Harvester. Maybe looking to play the Mayhem Devil next turn, because then he'd be able to kill the Greasefang. So it leaves him open for that. See, Randy's going to Informant. Man, that keeping that Parhelion here is looking even better and better.
Yeah, it's getting a little awkward, right? Because unfortunately, one Parhelion's already on the bottom, so it's like, I mean, he does have cards like Traverse that do allow him to kind of reset where cards are in his deck with a shuffle, Without the benefit of fetches in this format, you do feel a little sad sometimes when you mulligan, you put something on the bottom and you just know that there's no way you're getting to it because your deck doesn't have that kind of capability. Like I'm playing black red. There's very little ways for me to possibly pick up my deck and do anything. It's just whatever's on top.
So, no fetches for you to shuffle those cards back in. Those are gonna go to the bottom and you probably just won't see them again. Yeah. This goodbye.
Yeah. I think if I had been in Randy's spot, I probably would have just put back maybe the Traverse. It seemed like he kind of had everything he needed. Yeah,
he's got to be behind on it. I mean, he does not have Delirium quite yet, so he won't be able to at least search for anything.
Yeah, and Delirium only lets you get, he could get an additional Greasefang or a land or something, but it won't let him get the thing we need right now, which is a vehicle to crew. Yeah. And with, Miles already establishing, 3, 6, 7 power out here, it's not bad.
Yeah, Miles gonna borrow that.
Now
Feeds informant for a
he did
turn.
establish it by claiming it, as it
Yeah.
were, but you know it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Witch's Oven to pick it off, make a food.
Yeah.
That's so much
Back up with the
value.
kitty cat. Get a Besiege from Randy here. He doesn't have a whole lot going on.
Could Besiege you the Witch's Oven now.
Yeah, get it out of the way.
While it's tapped and he can't, get any additional benefit from it. Now he doesn't know Miles' hand. He doesn't know the devil's already here, like ready to go and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Traverse is now active though, so that definitely helps.
Yeah, but if you're Randy, what are you getting?
Yeah.
What are you traversing for? And we don't think he needs a land.
Wayfinder.
I mean, a Wayfinder's not bad. It does allow him to mill a couple more cards and hopefully hit the Parhelion.
Yeah.
He really needs to, as his window is gonna start closing quite quickly once that devil is in play, and Miles will have access to ways to start sacrificing things with Witch's Oven. He's got food, he's got treasure, he's got blood, he's got all, whatever token artifact you want to throw away.
What are you feeling? He's got it. Yeah, I mean, Miles does have another Blood Tithe Harvester too, so not drawing a third land here, a little bit unfortunate, but he does still have the capability of being able to, if Randy had hit a Parhelion there, he'd still have the capability to be able to snipe it off with a Blood Type Harvester in response. So it would make him that extra blood that he still has hanging out.
Yeah. Deadly Dispute, tossing a food, super easy play, right? You get your treasure, you get 2 more cards. He could very well still hit his third land. And actually, it seems like he still missed though, right? It's it's like an Unlucky Witness and then Fatal Push for his draw, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what he's got here.
Which the treasure keeps you feeling pretty safe with a push, and even if Randy somehow pulls together a vehicle in the yard, he still has to try to get Greasefang out and have it live, which is again now is looking quite difficult.
Yeah, I mean, Randy would have to be able to just have another Grisly Savage or Satyr Wayfinder, and then pay Greasefang, and then hope that it sticks around. Like, it's a big ass.
Yeah, so. Right now it seems like he's just hitting more land. Getting a little awkward. Like, there is some incentive almost to just play out the Greasefang because he does have Can't Stay Away and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how long can you wait and just play nothing? So he can Besiege you the Oven. It would be a reasonable thing to do right now. Most likely Miles will probably sack, the familiar at least once to it. But it'll be gone.
Yeah.
But on the downside, he gives Miles the land that he would like.
Yeah. Randy's gonna Can't Stay Away here. He's gonna get a Wayfinder. He's gonna do some more digging.
Okay.
Maybe he can hit one of those Parhelions.
Okay,
which
and he does. He does. All right. Yeah. So next turn we got options.
Miles kind of saying here, like, Miles does still have a couple options here. I mean, he's got the push. He does also still have. He has a Drew of Thoughtseize last turn as well, so he can pitch that off next turn if he thinks Randy has a Greasefang.
Yeah.
I don't believe he has another Can't Stay Away in the graveyard, so he wouldn't be able to flash it back and get the Greasefang that is currently in the graveyard.
Yeah,
so
it's. I feel like Randy's had kind of a card behind each time where he could have made maybe a slightly different choice and left himself with more options, but. Again, we can see both sides of things clearly, so it's hard to say what he is, immediately considering.
Yeah.
Oh, and it does look like he got the third land. All right. It's a good start.
He's going to start with the Thoughtseize. He's going to take Greasefang.
And that's the other problem too, right? Is if you don't play out the Greasefang, sometimes that just happens where it's like, oh, well, here's the thought, and it's just gone anyway.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah, so we still got a couple. I mean, there's 2 in the yard, looks like, and then...
And that was the only Can't Stay Away. Now, there's usually 2 in a list. I don't know if you have the deck list handy, but he has options because there are a handful of cards in the deck that allow him to return a creature back to his hand or, get another Can't Stay Away, get it into play.
Just Traverse Moving Wall, too.
Yeah, Traverse would also be pretty clutch. Yeah. Now, we know that Miles has a pretty good answer to a Greasefang.
Yeah. Not too bad.
And the Greasefang off the top. Now, unfortunately, he's gonna go for it because you don't at this point he doesn't have anything else to do. He's going to do this. Which trigger on the stack here, before we go to combat. Now you can allow the trigger to happen. I probably would have in this case.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of like,
funny,
sure, you can have a parhelion.
yeah,
I mean, he's getting close though. I mean,
yeah.
he's at 6 right now.
It
so.
is slightly difficult only because he might also be able to just hard cast it if it goes to hand. Usually, you're okay with you wait for the trigger to go on the stack. If the Greasefang's the only thing that they have to crew it with, you know, they trigger, they get the Parhelion, and then you kill Greasefang in response. So the Parhelion still comes out, but there's nothing to crew it with, and then it still has to go back to their hand. Now that's great if they only have like 3 land. They're not hard casting a Parhelion, then they still have to put it back in the yard somehow.
Yeah.
But when they're already almost at, 7, 8, 9 mana, like, you're like,
I don't really want
I don't know, I want that to just be in play now.
We're gonna check out some graveyard here.
Yeah.
Triple Greasefang in the yard, so there's only 1 left in there.
Yeah, his odds are
This
much
is
higher
nice,
now
man.
of reanimating or getting that one of those back. Oh, and this is gonna be really tricky. Is Hive gets to exile something.
Yeah. Yep.
And then it looks like Randy's just saying, "Nah, I'm done."
No thanks.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna go to game 2. Trying to remember Randy's sideboard from a little bit earlier. We don't have the deck list available currently right now, but
I feel like I saw some of the cards.
yeah, I mean, presumably, probably about the same sideboard. I mean, the last time he put in at least Assassin's Trophy, and then Miles probably expecting similar Leyline of the Void.
Yeah, which is it's interesting, right? Because like for me personally, playing Black Red, I have Leylines.
Yeah.
Now sometimes, people would rather have like unlicensed person. Oh, we can see quick.
Take a peek.
So he's got Cut Down, Lily of the Veil, Heroic Intervention. Oh, that's kind of fun. Duress, Abrupt Decay, Deafening Silences, Portable Holes, Soul Guide Lantern, Leyline of the Void, and Assassin's Trophy. Now, speaking of Leyline of the Void, Randy absolutely has to bring in some amount of Leyline of the Void for this matchup, right? That's like
definitely solid.
It's funny because you don't want to take away too much from your combo. That is the hard part of playing a combo deck. But with a deck like Rakdos Sacrifice, they have an incredibly hard time specifically answering enchantments.
Yeah.
So getting a Leyline of the Void out early means that they cannot sit there and ping you and go back and forth with cats. It just can't happen.
Yeah, no cat, no Croxa if he's got it in his list.
Oh yeah, you get one Croaks and
yeah, no Talking Numa either. Like, ooh, heck.
Yeah, so there's a lot of value to having Leyline over, some other options in the deck. But I don't know. Outside of that, maybe the Portable Hole's kind of okay because you can get rid of some of the problematic.
Yeah, creatures like Blood Tithe Harvester and
it gets
cat.
It targets anything costs to like the whole outside of the devil himself. Like everything costs pretty much 2 or less. I don't know what else he would really, because again, like it's kind of difficult to want to take too much away. He might bring in the Assassin's Trophy if he thinks that there's too much graveyard hate out of Miles. Which
he's got Miles' list, so
great.
He's got 1 Abrade, 2 Duress, 2 Furnace Trains, a Go Blank, 2 Invasion of Asgal, a Gigantha, the 3 Obnixilus, a Pylon, and 2 Rending Volleys. So probably expecting some Rending Volleys, Abrade, Duress, probably not Duress,
I mean, I would expect the Rending Volleys for sure. That's just the easiest answer to a Greasefang. Abrade, most likely.
Yeah,
that's the easiest answer to Greasefang or the thing he's getting back. It just depends, right? And then
no Leylines, Go Blanks.
Probably
Go Blank is an option.
I mean, it's only ones, but it's good to actually exile the yard once it's been resolved. So, like, I say he probably brings it in. He is on the draw, so it's like you are feeling behind at that point.
Yeah.
So a Go Blank to clean up a good setup.
Yeah.
It can be ideal, right? Because maybe Randy gets a Parhelion in the yard, but no Greasefang this time.
Yeah.
So drawing a timely Go Blank.
Yeah.
Can easily make it so that doesn't end up just killing him and running off to game 3. But we'll see what they both decided, they're worried about. Again, I think Miles' list is slightly light on graveyard hate specifically, which is kind of interesting. But I mean, they're trying to play a faster game and like they are also a combo deck. So I think both of these players will have only a handful of cards they want to bring in. There's probably only between 3 to 5 cards maybe that they want to play around with.
But sometimes it's like, oh, you know what? Gotta go fast. let's just play a bunch of creatures and get in there.
Yeah,
and
like
just try to disrupt you a little bit.
And maybe Randy will take from the last game and maybe try to facilitate something. Not to say that he wasn't trying to go, but maybe prioritize keeping. Well, we can see his hand. I'm not seeing a Greasefang or a vehicle of any kind. It looks like a lot of land. Was that Abrupt Decay and a Witherbloom command? Maybe a Satyr Wayfinder? It's not ideal. Like, it is a hand that can set things up.
Yeah.
It is that kind of hand. He can draw into stuff. Now, Miles, I see Mayhem Devil. I saw some land.
Penzin, there's a Blood Crypt, Fatal Push.
This hand looks better.
A Deadly Dispute.
I feel like unless he has less land than I think he does, then the hand looked all right.
Yeah. Let's see. Bobo's definitely mulling this over. These are definitely both very interesting
That's what
hands.
I think he might have not. I think he was like all gas and like no land in that.
Yeah, it looks like Randy's keeping. Miles is gonna go down to 6 here.
Yeah. Again, I can understand Randy's keep. He has the land. He has some setup cards. He has like a Pasaju, which is not a bad thing to have against an oven.
Yeah.
So it kind of just depends on how kind the top of his deck wants to be to him, off of like the Wayfinder and other things. Yeah. We'll see.
See what's going out here. I mean, he does have Randy is also looking good because he's got the Pasaju just in case. Well, it's open deck, so he knows that he doesn't have ley lines.
Yeah.
So, normally, like you'd be good. You're like, okay, cool, but
yeah, he probably looked at Miles' list and was okay.
No lines, all right.
No hearse, no nothing.
Yeah, don't have to fight through those. Miles gonna keep his. Looks like we got a Thoughtseize, Blood Crypt, Fable. 2 Thoughtseize?
Maybe.
3 Thoughtseize? Is that 3 Thoughtseize?
That's at least 2. I can't tell what the other 1 mana black spell is like near the. That's a Rending Volley.
And then a Rending Volley.
I want to say it looked like maybe like a collective chat, like Rending Volley, like 2 dots. This is an aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Land Fable, I think I'm pretty sure it's triple Thoughtseize and then Rending Volley.
Yeah, so. I just couldn't tell if he had different art for his Thoughtseizes, but he is again a little land light.
Yeah. Yeah, keeping 1 here.
So, all right. I mean, you're Miles. You're looking at this. What do you take? Now, I personally think leaning towards the Wayfinder seems kind of something to think about. You're probably not worried about the Abrupt Decay too much. And Witherbloom Command is like, it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, Witherbloom Command puts less cards into the yard. Wayfinder is going to put at most 4. Sometimes it's just a land, which is fine, and then Witherbloom Command.
And it's a body.
It's just the same.
It leaves behind a 1/1.
Yeah,
that matters.
1/1. Yeah, but I mean, whatever he doesn't take, I'm presuming is just casting next turn. Yeah,
there goes the Wayfinder. Especially with Miles on mono Thoughtseizes, stopping your opponent from being able to just do anything on their turn 2 is not too bad, because then you're gonna untap, you Thoughtseize them again, take whatever you're worried about.
Yeah. He's gonna go and snap off for the win. Randy did draw a Can't Stay Away, so
so not a bad spot to, I'm assuming, probably mill himself and do a little drain and gain is probably the 2 modes he chose. That's kind of what it looked like.
Yeah. See, not a great mill.
But he those are 3 cards he didn't probably want to draw.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it is with the sometimes even your bad mills are just you skipped 3 draw steps that you didn't want.
Yeah. Isn't too bad.
You just keep it moving.
Yeah. I mean, with a Can't Stay Away hanging out in his hand, like Greasefang would have been fine to mill. I mean, I guess keeping it safe, just in case of like a go blank. But I mean, with 1 land.
Yeah, and look, Miles does only have the 1 land. He didn't. Yeah. He kept. I mean, he did mulligan. He kept it and didn't draw it.
No.
So it's gonna be a little tight. Now he's got a lot of answers, but answers require mana, and now we see that Randy does have the Greasefang.
Yeah. Juice Greasefang, so you're going to Can't Stay Away that Wayfinder here.
Hope
see
to
if you
hit.
can hit a Parhelion.
Hope to hit.
Yeah, hopefully Miles sitting
all right,
on 1
Chariot,
lane, so.
that's something.
Chariot,
that's
good?
something. 2 Chariots.
Chariots, all right.
Hey.
Chariot's coming in.
Now, off of the Wayfinder, you can take your creature off Wayfinder as well, right?
I believe it's only land.
Is it only land? I couldn't remember.
Yeah, Grizzly Salvage is land.
Oh yeah, it's salvage. Okay, they all do such similar things. So he could grab the planes off of this one and then just have 2 chariots and format. I mean, not bad.
Yeah.
Definitely worse. Definitely worse hits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Miles sitting on 1 land, I mean,
Yeah.
that's also just totally serviceable.
Yeah, and now, you got Wayfinder back, which you don't care about anymore. You'll throw it under an unlucky witness or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, Miles also sitting, so the Thoughtseiz's still on 1 land.
It's still a 1 land, so now he has to make a choice. Does he Thoughtseize? Or does he hold up Rending Volley?
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, it can be tricky when Randy does have access to cards like Collective Brutality, things like that. Now, he doesn't have the mana to do both in this particular turn. Is that another Greasefang?
That is another Greasefang.
Okay. All right.
When in doubt, draw more Greasefang.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wouldn't be mad at it. I'd say when you have a Can't Stay Away and some other thing, like you feel like you should just do it, right? You have the secondary Greasefang. You're feeling pretty set.
Yeah.
So like we know Greasefang's gonna die.
Yeah.
But that's one card down. You know, it's gone. Like if Randy waits too long, it just gets Thoughtseized away or whatever else. Wow, still no second land.
So maybe this is
What's
where we see
the mana count
Thoughtseize,
for this deck?
Yeah. I mean, unfortunate for Miles here too, just because he can't pop off that Thoughtseize, take that second Greasefang, but there is still a Can't Stay Away in the graveyard.
Yeah, now
so.
can't Stay Away. The flashback is 5, so he does have this 1 turn window to make a move. Oh, and a Parhelion draw is so good. Provided he has a way to put it in the yard.
Yes.
Which I don't think he has currently, but it doesn't mean he can't get to one.
Yeah, can dump on Greasefang. It's like, yep, gonna get that Chariot back.
Which Chariot is a great example of a card that you don't mind going back to your hand afterwards.
Yeah.
You make your guys, you come in there, you swing, and then it goes back, and then you just cast it because it costs 4. Yeah.
Reasonably castable.
I mean, it is legendary, see? It's not like you can just stack them up, so to speak.
Yeah. Hopefully Miles is going to get to hit that and hit some lands. There we go.
Hey.
There they are. That's what we were looking for.
Unfortunately, I think he's only going to get one of those.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'd rather have all of them. Just jam them all out here. But
yeah, one definitely better than none, but
could have been worse.
Still might be a little late here. It's hitting 2 lanes when your opponent's got all this stuff on board.
Yeah, I mean,
any discard spell for Randy here is going to be really brutal.
Like cards like Claim the Firstborn aren't as good when you don't have the oven in play.
Yeah.
Like if he was already ahead and he gets to take an angel or something like that, it's great, right? Like you could swing a game back in your favor. But right now, that's not looking good.
Yeah. Oof,
now, if Randy has any way to put this Parhelion in the yard, then I believe Miles is just dead.
That's a Godless Shrine, so that's not going to be away.
That is not going to be away.
Randy is going to be at 6 mana, though, so we're getting ever closer.
So, what I think he could do is... I think he could have... If I'm remembering correctly, did he not have a Rafine's Informant in the yard? He could just Can't Stay Away the Rafine's Informant.
True.
He could connive the Parhelion into the yard.
That's true.
And then he could have killed Miles. Now, I believe Miles is just... he sees the writing on the wall kind of thing. Now, Rakdos isn't the best at dealing with just a bunch of tutus.
Yeah.
Which, it is what it is, right? You know, he got behind, and he had good answers, but didn't draw the land to use them efficiently.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of the duality. It's like, I mean, the hand very tempting. Like, multiple, like, Thoughtseizes and answers, 1 land.
Plus, you've already mulled down once.
Plus, you've
already mulled down once. You're like, if I put this back and get 5, like, what do I have after that?
It's like, do I have enough to deal with this? So, these are top 8 here.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
So our top 8, they still have a match to play, right? Because that was they're going into game 3. For a second, I thought we were getting the top 8. Because I was like, wait, I remember them being 1-1 here.
Yes, 1-1. Yeah, this is the quarterfinals of the top 8. Yes. We still get more Magic today.
We do get more Magic. I am super curious how the rest of the matches are going right now, because it's a fairly diverse top 8 overall.
Yeah, I don't know if you peeked at Randy's list a little bit earlier, but I don't know if you could see that little number at the bottom of Randy's list over on Miles' side, but he was playing 62 cards. So he's playing those sweet 2 flex spots.
I think it is a typo, but I do think he's at 61 specifically.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know.
I mean,
But
sometimes you get lost in the sauce, and it's difficult to come back from.
It's a handful of stuff. A handful of hopes and dreams and parhelions. That's what it is. And again, I can understand these players maybe choosing differently depending on, being on the play versus being on the draw. Like if I'm ready to like if I didn't have the ley lines in before, I definitely have them in now.
Yeah.
Because some of it just comes out how fast can you go?
Yeah.
When you're playing Greasefang and you're on the draw, you already feel so far behind.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my god, like I'm gonna be here for 20 years trying to get a Greasefang and a party.
All of these answers and more. I don't like this at all.
You're like, no, it's giving them time to establish again. He could get a food out, and then he has something that's and it's just too much. It's too much.
Catting me all the time.
But on the play, you're like, I can't lose.
Yeah.
Speaking of the duality of
yeah. Yeah, I think Randy probably just check in, see if there's anything he wants to switch out.
Yeah, always good to look. Always good to remind yourself what you did, what you didn't do.
Yeah.
You're like, you know what? These Besaju's still good.
Yeah.
That's why you put it in the main.
Yep. Yeah, definitely solid here. See if Randy's trying to pick up something extra. Looks like he might be thinking about putting those ley lines in now.
He may have only. It'd be interesting. I think he has 2 in his list. Maybe he only brought in 1, which is a little tricky. I feel like if you want it, you definitely just want both.
Yeah.
But especially in a deck like this where you could just dumpster a lot of cards that don't do anything.
Yeah.
You have a lot of ways to put them. Oh, so we do have it. What is it? Yeah, he has 2.
Yeah.
So, but it looked like there was only 1 there. Yeah, which, I like Soul Guide Lantern.
Yeah,
it's a good
I'm a
card.
fan of that card. Yeah, snipe something when it comes in. And sometimes you're like, I really need to draw a card. And it also does that.
Yeah.
So
if it's not doing anything for you at the time, you just use it.
Yeah.
Draw a card.
It's fine.
Move on with your day.
Yeah. Don't need that on the board anymore.
And it can be a little tricky for a card. So like Leyline's great, right? Because no matter what Miles does, it's an enchantment, it's in play. There's very little option on his side, playing black-red specifically, to interact with it at any point.
Yeah.
But for a card like Soul Guide Lantern, that can be tricky, because he can manipulate his graveyard in response a lot of the time to, say, if he already has a cat in the graveyard, and Randy tries to snipe it, in response he can sack a food, get it back out, and, not allow him to do what he wants to do with it.
Yeah.
And then with cards like a Braid and things like that, he could just, get rid of it in some way. So I only prefer cards like Leyline in this matchup because of reasons like that, even though if you don't have it in your opener, feels bad.
Yeah, feels bad paying 4 mana for that.
4 mana.
Usually a little late, but
you're already behind.
Sometimes it's fine. Sometimes it's what you need to do, but
yeah. Sometimes you have both in your opener, and you're like, okay, I don't know what that's.
We're doing this. So Miles having the opposite problem here. It looks like all lands and a go blank and an oven.
Well, you know what?
Yep. Gonna chip it here.
I don't think that's quite enough. I think if maybe one of those land would have been anything else, then a definite consideration. But
definite solid.
And then, well, he's got what looks to be Essica's Chariot, Sky Sovereign, Greasefang, Abrupticate, and a couple land. Is that a Rafine's Informant as well?
Yeah, Rafine's Informant, and I think he has a Traverse Ovenwald. So, I mean, he's got Beseju and a Traverse to get the white swords for that, but that's kind of deep.
The only tricky thing is because Miles being on the play, if he goes turn 1 Thoughtseize and sees the line of taking the Traverse, it can be tricky. Look, you probably still keep it because this hand is quick.
Yeah,
it's a fast hand, and it's slightly recursive. You can still make things happen if you just will he see it? This is
so some goodies in here
in action. He's gonna see the 1 land now. I respect Miles. He's in top 8. He probably sees the line. There's always an argument for taking Greasefang just because it's just gone. It's 1 Greasefang in the yard, but to take your opponent off of a land is.
You can cast any spell.
It's nice. Now, the only difference is that Randy could just naturally draw 2 land.
Yeah. And then just be
feels
fine.
absolutely punishing if you feel like you made the correct choice and then still get smacked for it.
Yeah.
But if I was in Miles' seat, I would personally take the traverse. And yeah,
Looks like that's what he's doing.
Looks like he also made
Yeah.
a choice, which
He's
know
gonna
I can
rely
get
on-
behind, and that's because I would do it.
I only drew one line last time. You're only drawing one line.
And
this
as Randy
game.
draws a Thought Seed where he is not even
Oh,
close to casting it,
no.
it's a little awkward now, right?
It's like an oven mouse. You got
yeah.
a Blood Tithe Harvester come down. That's
Which is
pretty good.
it's one of your better 2-drops for sure. This is really about to put the pressure on Randy to draw land, which he
man.
did not. Immediately
No.
passes it back. Are we gonna get to the move to discard situation?
Yeah.
Start putting vehicles in the yard.
Yeah, don't draw any discard spells. That's fine. I'll
This
just
is-
have 8 cards in my hand. Put them
This
in
is
my
Pioneer
myself.
This is Pioneer Reanimator, folks. This is where we're going. All right, and the oven.
Down here.
Yeah, Miles not having like the most aggressive
Yeah.
start, right? But not being punished for it whatsoever because Randy's still not hitting the land.
Yeah.
So I say it's a tricky keep when you could get turn 1 Thoughtseize. Now, if it hadn't been exactly turn 1,
Yeah.
different story.
Okay, yeah.
If Randy had been on the play, different story.
Yeah. I mean, even taking Rafine's Informant there, I think, is also still just fine. Because then you still cannot cast anything. You're still
Yeah.
stuck with both of those in your hand. And you don't get an extra draw.
Could be.
Yeah. It's like, it's minimal, but it's definitely there.
I don't like giving them the connive option, so I can
Randy's shaking?
I can understand it. But
Nope. Yep, there we go.
wow, oh, and it looks like Randy's just calling it.
Wow.
Okay.
Essentially, 2 games just decided by one person only drawing 1 line.
Yeah. Sorry
Definitely
to bring you the
Yeah.
the driest of the
Yeah.
Saharas of land over here, but
Yeah, we get to look at all the cool cards that were in both of these decks at least, because
Yeah.
the other person just got to play everything with no interaction. So
that's super tricky. I mean, gosh, that hand had potential, but again, I don't think if I'm in Randy's seat, I don't think I keep it if I'm on the draw, only because I would have been concerned about that exact situation.
yeah, yeah.
Even though the rest of the hand is gas. The
Yeah.
hand is gas, and
I mean,
sometimes
even
sometimes that can be difficult to put back.
a shock too would have just been better.
A shock would have.
Yeah, having 1 green mana, it's like at least having a white mana. There's like a lot of your
Yeah,
like
it's
answer stuffs are gonna be
specifically
white and
being
green.
just
Like,
Beseiju is
Yeah.
also a little awkward. But it is unfortunate. Like, you know, at the time you sit there, you make your decision, and you see what happens.
yeah,
Randy could have just as easily went just mono draw land off the top.
Yeah.
Still had exactly the same game plan and crushed Miles. Like,
Yep.
so
it just happens.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
so
there's-
Miles was on sideboard about what we thought. Go blank, double Randy, volley of braid, and then the
Yeah.
pile on too. He put in.
okay.
Yeah, he's solid.
I wasn't 100% sure only because like it feels a little slower, a little pricey, but with enough stuff out, I came out like
Yeah, with the value.
yeah, maybe
piling
he
on.
yeah, because like I feel like your claim the first born stuff aren't very good, right? So he's
Yeah.
probably just looking for more interaction at an instant speed
Yeah.
to not die.
Definitely.
So it would make sense that he probably took out some amount of that to trade them. Look at Randy with his free. And you see his Rockets Pizza free slice. Where's that?
Ooh,
Where's
man,
that from?
That's perfect.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that's great.